And if you open that chicken and it's giving something in which you feel like you need to rinse it, then that's not chicken you need to be eating. They're like, oh, well, what about the slime? I'm like, girl, what slime? I'm on the phone, my friend's like, what slime? What are you talking about? I'm like, throw that chicken away, you know?
Yeah, don't eat that.
Welcome back to Soup and Salad with Max and Julia Nelson and Marty, our latest addition to the pod.
Let's go.
Our secret is that we've been shooting 2 a day, but today we had one, which worked out because it was a very stimulating, long conversation.
Super fun. Went on longer than I thought it was going to go. And then
I know. I feel like I could have talked to her for hours.
Yeah.
Reveal, it was Kia Cooks.
Yeah.
And she said she pronounced her last name as it's Kia
Damon?
Damon.
I think it was Damon. Yeah.
Also, shout out Marty on the pod.
What's up, guys?
Yeah.
Playboy Marty.
Marty in the house. We got a third cam now.
Yeah.
We got Spencer in the background probably.
Yeah, say what up.
See how that works out.
Pop back there.
Yeah, we got Kia on today. We had a really good conversation. She has done, actually, you know what we didn't talk about? We botched this. She was on Chopped.
I know, but I feel like she's probably talked about that so many times and like it was probably just a stint.
Probably.
Kia is a really interesting because she's from Orlando, Florida. And I feel like a lot of people, and she talks about this, who talk about Florida, talk about it in just such like a negative light.
People like to hate on Florida.
People do, yeah.
But she's given Florida a good rap.
Yeah, she had a good case for Florida.
Yeah, it gets a bad rap culturally, but like literally, and she got into this too, but I've always kind of thought that like it's so different. There's so many different parts of Florida, like really more than any other state.
Right.
So it's like for it to just like shit on it as a whole, like really makes no sense. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's fucked up to just be like all of Florida sucks.
Yeah.
When it doesn't.
And to her point, like she was like, there's so much diversity in the South and people just like dismiss that.
Right.
Yeah, I love that part.
Yeah, same.
That
was really
Louisiana,
cool.
by the way, if anyone doesn't know.
Yeah.
Podcast.
I'm just representing the South today.
I know.
But yeah, she had a really interesting story just about being from Florida, getting into the restaurant industry and being an exec chef, which she actually didn't resonate with. And then I think what was cool about her is that she like didn't take any traditional path as far as just like either being a chef or being in like media, but she kind of made her own way and now is doing this Florida water tour where she's like,
she's a risk taker. She's like, I want to work in a restaurant and then I want to like work in a magazine. And then I want to like write a book. It's like insane. She just believes she can do it. And she does do it.
Yeah. Inspirational, honestly.
She has done so many things. That was cool to just hear about her like entire journey through all that.
Yeah.
She's still young. She's 30.
I know.
She's younger than me.
Just
like that's
turned.
nuts.
I know.
Inspirational pod.
Yeah.
What was the best thing y'all ate this week?
I made gumbo.
Okay.
We talked about gumbo and it was real good.
Okay, you made gumbo. I definitely didn't have anything that good this week, I feel like.
No, we also had really good sushi last night. I don't know. What did you do?
I think. Did I have anything good this week? I had French onion soup.
Did you make it?
No. It was good though.
Yeah.
What about you, Marty?
I had a really good cheesesteak. There's this cheesesteak place near my apartment, Old City Cheesesteaks. And I went there, watched the Suns game. Yeah, that was probably it. I'm trying to eat better because I'm getting married in a year, and like I had kind of fat face in my engagement photos, and I don't want that for the wedding photos.
No.
So like it's kind of a bad time for me to be entering the food space.
Yeah.
But like,
Eating cheesesteaks.
I had some really bad.
At 11 a.m.
Yeah, right. That was my one day. I had some really bad grilled fish tacos last night.
Oh, okay.
Really fucking bad. Yeah, from this place in Jersey City. It was trash. I don't want to trash the whole restaurant, but their fish tacos not what you should order there.
When you do cheesesteak, do you go like classic Cheese Whiz style?
No, I do American, which a lot of people hate on. Like, but I do extra cheese, extra onions, like pretty much every time.
Yeah.
I go provolone. What are you doing on that bad boy? American cheese also?
I think so.
On a cheesesteak?
Yeah, it depends. I mean, I've only had a real like cheesesteak in Philly, and I typically just get whatever that place is like known for.
The traditional cheesesteak is like
the whiz.
I feel like it's like thinly sliced ribeye with cheese whiz, basically, and like onions.
Yeah.
Whiz is just kind of weird to me, you know. Like it's like like it. I know it's not this, but it kind of feels like it more just like looks like you're just eating nacho cheese,
which
it basically is.
I know, but it's a little better. But like, then I don't know. It's just what you grow up with, I guess.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm excited for our new pod member, and I'm really excited about this episode with Kia. She's I mean, time flew. She's just like a delight to talk to and so easy to talk to and so funny.
Yeah. I'm just excited that this podcast has been canceled for some reason or another. Do you think they listen to this at Food 52 in the office?
No.
That's great. All right.
Stick around. Hi. Oh, well, okay. So also.
All right.
I'm like, do I have an intro? Like, what's the vibe?
We kind of just roll into it.
I'm like, come on. So
okay. So welcome to the Soup and Salad podcast.
Thanks.
Right. Yes.
So excited to have Kia Cooks here with us.
Kia Cooks. Kia Damon. Am I saying that right?
Damon.
Okay,
that was close.
That was close. That was a good one.
Also, just for your context, this is the first time we have Marty, who's on cam as our producer. For the episode.
He's kind of here, so when we mess up and don't know what we're doing, he like helps to keep it rolling. Basically.
Yeah, kind of steer the conversation. That's the role here.
I like that.
Yeah. So we were just talking about it beforehand, but this is a new podcast that Food 52 is presenting, and this is our 7th episode, so bear with us.
I know.
That's really great.
We're figuring it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're so excited to have you on, and transparently, I may or may not have listened to a bunch of podcasts that you were on.
Yeah.
Honestly, no, I'm glad that you did.
Yeah.
I like when people do their research and homework so then they don't ask me the same thing.
I know. I'm like, but it's hard. When I was doing it, listening to them, I was like, okay, I want to know what I'm talking about, but also if you know too much, then it feels like you have nothing to ask.
Right.
Because I like,
But also it's like a different audience too. So like sometimes we want to get the background in there. You know what I mean? And
That's
like some of the key points.
Well, things that I'll tell you not to ask me about or, limit.
Tell us.
And limit how much you ask me about it. I do not like talking about being an executive chef.
Okay.
Because I hated it.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, I absolutely hate it. There's some things that I'll share about it, but that was a truly exhausting time. And I feel like every time I have an interview, like, so how was it?
Yeah.
How was it?
Terrible.
How was it?
No, I get it.
I have like PTSD and it's like explosions going off behind me, like sirens. And I'm just like, yeah, how was it? And I got to go to therapy and I'm like,
we definitely don't have to get too deep into that.
You can ask some things, but.
Anything else off limits?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, cool.
Okay, good.
Exec chef and that's it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I could have emailed that. My bad.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, it's all good.
I'm glad we know.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to say, because we just found out it was just your birthday, so happy birthday.
Yeah.
Also, Shirley Temple in the house.
Yeah.
Shout out.
In the house.
Yeah.
And so your birthday is 2 days before Thanksgiving? Or
yeah, so my birthday is always within the week. It kind of varies because it bops around. Thanksgiving bops around. But it's always like in that week. And
yeah, duh.
when I was younger, it was really terrible because we'd go
overshadowed.
We'd go on Thanksgiving break.
Right.
So then when all the kids are like, getting cupcakes or Burger King or whatever, Happy Meals like at school and everyone's like, oh, it's your birthday.
Yeah.
Everyone goes, the school is out and I'm just at home by myself. And I'm like, oh, it's my birthday. I'm like, how would anyone know that I aged?
It's like having a birthday on Christmas or something.
I have an ex whose birthday I believe is the day before Christmas. And then my baby brother's like 5 days after Christmas.
No way.
And I was just
like,
like,
no presents.
I was like, what kind of irresponsible family planning?
Yeah, honestly.
We're thinking 9 months before Christmas.
Right. Like, what's going on? So many of my friends were all in that November, December, like Sagittarius realm, and I'm just like, I feel bad for us.
The worst is when we actually, I'm sure everyone,
no, go ahead. Yeah.
We know a girl who her birthday is on leap year, like February 29th.
Yeah, the day.
Yeah. And it's like, so you only have a birthday technically every 4 years.
Yeah.
What is a leap year?
I don't,
it's
now
like
that I'm
they
thinking about
do
it,
just the calendar. So like
it's every election year. Every election year, there's a February 29th.
Right. So it's like one day that only comes around.
Just to even out the calendar. Like if we didn't do it, it'd be like the seasons would be fucked up. Like it's like something like that.
How did people how did we discover that we should do that?
That's a great
That's too deep
question.
for this podcast.
Sorry. Like cosmic surroundings.
The answer is the stars, but
it's always the stars. It's always about the stars.
Wow. That is interesting. But yeah, could you imagine you just like have to choose the day before or day after and it's not even really your birthday?
No, that would be really sad.
So then just out of curiosity, as we're talking about food, how did you celebrate Thanksgiving and like what is your like meal or if you cook?
Traditional, off the charts, crazy?
No, so I would definitely just join my friends like Friendsgiving situation. I I prefer not to cook.
Yeah.
On the holiday, even when I would go home, my mom wouldn't. She doesn't even let me cook or really join in for a holiday, which I appreciate. I love it so much, you know. She's a Gemini. That's a whole nother thing. But, I actually just kicked it with my friend. Yeah. Oh, wait, that's a lie. I was testing. I lied. I was testing a recipe for one of my jobs, and I made a Frito pie. I had
yum.
How was it?
It was
That's a great kind of classic.
Good.
Yeah.
That sounds so
I had
good.
never. I was like, why did it take me so long?
Yeah, it's like excellent stoner
to
food.
get on the Frito Pie train.
Yeah.
I said, this absolutely changed my life. I tested it, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll just bring this Frito Pie. I was in the group chat, like, I'll bring the Frito Pie. It was like Frito Pie. I'm like, yeah, Frito Pie.
Yeah.
And then I tasted it. When I was done, I was on my couch like, oh my God.
Just you stunned yourself. You're like,
I was stunned. I was like, who would have thought that meat and beans and Fritos would be the thing to do with some like good toppings? So I brought Frito Pie to the Friendsgiving.
I love that.
And there was an array of foods. One friend made what did my friend made? Oxtails.
Oh, yeah.
Made these like Cuban style oxtails, and then another friend did fish, and someone else bought.
This is somewhat non-traditional. That's not like turkey and
no. Well, in short, it wasn't giving turkey. It wasn't giving mashed potato situation. Like,
do you feel like because you're like known for cooking that when you go to your friend's house, they're like, "What's Kia gonna bring?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You gotta like live up to the hype.
They don't even ask what I'm gonna bring. They're just afraid to cook.
Yeah.
I get that.
Right? They're afraid to cook because they believe that I'm gonna like Gordon Ramsay situation. I'm gonna be in the kitchen like
judging.
You know what I mean? And I was like
tasting each thing like
I was like, I don't care. I was like, I'm a gremlin. I'll eat almost anything. Like I just like to eat. I'm like, it's not that serious. Same thing when I go out to eat with friends. Sometimes they're like, oh, we're gonna go to this restaurant. They're like, okay, do you think this restaurant's good? I was like, girl, I don't know. I don't work there. I'm not doing the cogs. I don't know what's going on in this restaurant. What are you talking about?
Right.
Order food and they eat and they're like, oh, kid, do you think it's good? I'm like, you act like you made the pork chop.
Right.
I'm like, it's a pork chop with onions. Of course it's good. Like, that's
how could you go wrong?
Right. It's like understanding of cuisine, of flavors. Like, what are you talking about? So they get scared. Sometimes though, they just ask me questions.
Yeah.
They're like, Kia, like one friend was like, I made this fish. I want it to stay relatively, warm, but not overcooked until the people come. And I was like, well, keep it wrapped, take it out the oven and just let it passively cook.
Yeah.
Right.
And then by the time that people come, it should be a solid temperature.
Yeah.
No one wants piping hot fish.
Right.
People think they want piping hot food and really you want something that's like just there, like warm bath water or something.
Yeah, totally.
And that's what she did. And she was like, thanks so much. And I was like,
yeah, nailed it. Those are the questions that are fun to answer.
Yeah.
Really help
exactly.
That I feel great. And I'm just like,
little piece of advice.
I'm like, I cook or whatever.
Like, I am the expert.
I'm like, I'll lunch at home. Or even when I go home, my mom will ask me things or my uncle will ask me things. And it's funny is my mother, she'll ask me things. And then when I give my opinion about it, she's like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
you're like, come on.
Yeah. So why'd you ask me, girl?
Right.
And then it's a whole argument about, whether or not you should wash chicken. And I'm just like,
what's your opinion on that?
Okay.
Yeah.
There is nothing on that chicken that your tap water is going to defeat.
It's just going to spread it all over your sink, really.
It's just going to spread it.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
There is your tap water is not going to defeat the salmonella. No. If there's something going on with that chicken, whether it's, salmonella or bird flu or whatever, the tap water isn't going to be the thing that
the heat's going to fix it.
Yeah, it's the heat.
Right.
I'm like, it's the heat. People are like, why don't you rinse it? I'm like, rinse it for what? I was like, I pat my stuff with a paper towel before I season it. But I was like, what are we doing with this water?
Yeah, it's real strange.
And people...
Like imagine washing a steak or something. Like why?
Right. What are we washing this for? And I definitely understand that there are different cultural practices
Jamaican
and all that.
jerk chicken and stuff. I feel like they always
it's because
wash it,
we just talked about this at work. It's because in other in the US, chickens are so cleaned and they're so
certain cultures do.
They go through such a process, but in other countries they don't go through that process, so they do wash them to
So there are other cultural influences and rituals and impacts that will involve people putting their rubbing their chicken down with lemon and white vinegar, things like that, but not
Your mom is just like under the sink.
And also I'm like, and if you open that chicken and it's giving something in which you feel like you need to rinse it, then that's not chicken you need to be eating. They're like, oh, well, what about the slime? I'm like, girl, what slime? I'm on my friend's like, what slime? What are you talking about? I'm like, throw that chicken away, you know?
Yeah, don't eat that.
So stuff like that. Like, and when I go home for the holidays, I do my best to also just reel that in.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, people are going to do what they want to do. And I also lived and ate and survived off of this food and these practices. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like,
I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not trying to be annoying. You know?
Right.
I'm just like, do what you want to do.
Kind of to like, that's a good kind of segue. And we don't have to like go through your like step by step your whole life story. Yeah. But I am just curious. So since you bring up like your family cooking, and again, I know just from listening to your other interviews, but growing up, like I know you had an interest in cooking, but did you like learn, like would you cook at home when your family was cooking, either your mom or your grandparents, or you wouldn't?
When did you get into it really?
I got into cooking when I tried to make some dietary changes for some like medical stuff that I was dealing with.
Yeah.
And I couldn't really get myself to a doctor or anything like that. All I had was the office computer. So I was like, let me do some research. Let me find some YouTube channels. All of these people are saying that maybe I should be vegan, which is whatever. But I was like, sure. So that's when I really started cooking for myself.
Okay.
Because my mom was like, I'm not going to. And also, I'm not going to ask my family to make additional meals.
Right.
Be serious, you know? So that's when I cooked for myself. But
were you like, how old were you at this point? Like in high school or something? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say it was 16.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you got into it pretty early.
Yeah. 16. Yeah. But even before that, any cooking that I kind of did was like over the summer when I was with my brother and my parents are gone, and it's like, well, you're old enough to be
totally
home by yourself. Which is like, yeah, that's true. And then my brother was like, I'm hungry, and I'm just like,
so you taught yourself?
Yeah.
So I would just do things that I saw my parents do.
Right.
And also I just kind of use context clues as to what I should do with something.
Yeah.
So I made a lot of I fried a lot of potatoes.
Yeah.
I fried a heck of a lot of potatoes. Like I would just
shake them
and cut them and fry them. And my brother and I would eat semi-cooked, semi-raw, like potatoes with like loads of ketchup.
Yeah.
Supplements it with whatever frozen things that we got from like Sam's Club.
Right.
You know?
That's so cool because it's like a time, like it's so easy to teach yourself stuff now with like YouTube and stuff. But like back then, like you kind of were just like, let's just try stuff.
Yeah. It's like it was very much given Try Guys. I was like, I've never watched that show, by the way. I have no context for Try Guys. I only heard the name once. It's in my head. But it just clicked for me. But exactly, it's like there's no anything to teach, so I just kind of vibe, you know. And I grew up eating well, you know, and not really cooking. Like everyone in my family throws down my, you know, all my family's from the South, and my grandma knew how to fish, and my uncle knew how to fish, and always dropping. So like I'm eating well, but I just never needed to cook. Like I don't have that, like, oh, I was my grandma was cooking, and then she, you know, came in, and then I cooked with my grandma, and that's why.
Yeah, I mean, it's not my life. A lot of people who've had this podcast are all from the University of YouTube. Really, it's like
I love YouTube.
Yeah, you know. So so you never went to culinary school, right?
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, straight vibes.
Yeah,
love that.
No, everyone who went said it was a waste of time. By the way, who we talked to.
And I hear that a lot, and I feel like there is a certain experience of culinary school that I would like to try, just because I'm now in a position where I have the agency to decide that and the room to decide that. But I remember very early, I wanted to go to culinary school so bad. I was young and watching, you know, public television and Food Network and all of that at my grandma's house. I wanted to be Bobby Flay so bad, to be honest.
I know. I was a big Food Network girl too.
It was just like, it's okay.
Yeah.
I was like, you're not going to shame me into whatever. That was everyone's truth.
Yeah.
Like, just be honest.
No, honestly.
It's either you want to be Emerald, you want to be Bobby, you want to see Cat Cora or something, one of the Iron Chefs. And maybe you want to be Paula Deen before you really knew what was going on. Because I was a child. Again, I was like, this woman is
I know. I used to watch her too. Rachel Ray, like all that.
Literally Rachel Ray, you know? So I was like, I want to go to culinary school so bad. I was like, I can do that. I remember I was cooking for my parents' anniversary. They are now divorced. But I was cooking for my parents. Okay. So I was like, that's some more. In case you're like, oh, your parents. I'm like, nah.
Let's give that
to they co-parent though. Good for them. But I remember I was cooking for one of their anniversaries and I did this like roasted chicken or Cornish hen stuff with wild rice, and I roasted them with cherries and onions.
Sounds good, man.
And and just because in my brain I was like, that sounds like good. Yeah. And I see the people on TV, they take poultry and then they mix them with, tart kind of fruits, and then you stuff it with something. Like I was just using the formula from what I saw on television. And I remember I was open the oven and I opened the roasting pot and I had this big spoon and I was like putting the juice on. And in my head I was like, put the juice over the chicken, put the juice over the chicken. I was like grandma does, like mom does. And then on TV, then I saw they call it basting. And I was like, but I do that stuff already. Like it's just so in my head, Sagittarius, I was like, I can become a professional chef. So that's easy.
Right.
I was like, I'm 17, I'm doing it right now.
How hard could it be?
How hard, literally. That's why Sagittarius is sometimes we must be stopped. Because there's some things we shouldn't do, but we're just like, well, how hard could that actually be? And
you got the opposite of imposter syndrome.
Right. Yeah. I was like, actually, I think I can do anything and everything.
I honestly feel like with cooking specifically, it's like that where, you know how there's like a whole camp of people who are like, I just don't know how to cook. I just don't know how to do it.
So strange to me that.
Me too. It's like you do. Simple. You just have to just do it. Like it's not.
When people cook, and I tell people that I know who are trying to cook, I was like, you're trying to go from not knowing how to really safely prepare a piece of meat to trying to make some like 8-hour, bolognese. I'm like, you can't. You're taking
a couple steps in between.
You're jumping right
now.
I was like, why don't you learn how to roast a chicken?
Exactly. Yeah.
I was like, just learn how to do that one thing. Why don't you learn how to make a spaghetti from scratch or just the I was like, do basic things.
Learn how to cut an onion.
Right. Learn how to cut an onion so that you build these basic skills passively that will then allow you to reach for more involved projects.
It is funny. It's like the one skill that people don't think you need to practice at. Kind of like when like really like all that is just practice and getting better at these small things and then to put it together.
And it's like sometimes you're going to make something that just isn't good. And I understand in this economy, we can't afford to do that. You know, that's like start with stuff that's small that doesn't have that's low risk.
You know, I think you have to just enjoy doing it too. That's the thing. Like people who don't cook, like they just don't like it. I think they don't like the process. Like we all love the process. I think that's like the thing that makes it fun.
Me too. I know that is true. I guess
sometimes it's more fun to make something than it is to even eat it.
I know.
And then you make it and you're like, are you hungry? You're like,
I know.
You've been trying it the whole time.
You like post on Instagram.
It's literally like I'm so like don't even want it.
I was like, hey, so I made this. Y'all want it before I order from Wings and Seafood?
Wings and Seafood's so good.
Wait, you eat Wings and Seafood? Oh my god.
The lemon pepper wings from Wings and Seafood.
Oh my god.
It's so good.
My brother. I ordered Wings and Seafood last night.
It's so good.
10-piece combo, all flat, fried hard.
All flats will do that?
Yeah, they do all flats.
I gotta ask for that.
And then I do half lemon pepper, half mild, heavy on the lemon pepper. Then I do a fry, do a grape drink. And then I do an additional fry.
So
good. The fries are good too. Those like crinkle fries.
They're good. And I don't even like crinkle fries, but they're crinkle fries.
Yeah, something about
it. Good. And they're I think they have like a 3-piece whiting. That's also good with the tartar sauce.
I don't even know where it is. Like,
I don't know either because
I've never seen it.
It gets to my place quick no matter what.
I think it's in Bed-Stuy somewhere. Like
no, it's not in Bed-Stuy. I think it's somewhere over here.
Oh really?
Is it?
Or maybe
no idea.
Or maybe off of like Flushing Ave, but I always get confused when it says because then I think of Flushing.
I know.
Right,
but I think it's somewhere off because it gets there
I don't want to see what it looks like. It's too good.
No, you don't. Yeah. I don't want to see how the sausage is made.
Yeah, no, not at all.
I just want my wings of seafood.
Wait, I'm so stupid. I've been getting like Wingstop still.
Oh no,
you're not. You're not
right,
stupid.
Yeah, Wingstop fucks. It's good. Yeah,
I mean, I still like
we
Wingstop.
can curse on this podcast. God, I've been over here like mincing my words and all the things. Wingstop also fucks.
Yeah.
You should it's that Wingstop is also.
I mean, I love Wingstop, but this place sounds amazing.
But wings and seafood.
Yeah, something special.
Is there seafood? And that's the name too. Wings and seafood.
Have you gotten the seafood there? I've never gotten the seafood.
No, I did. I get the whiting.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Wait, what is
whiting is just type of fish.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And they fry it in a way that reminds me of getting whiting back home. Like if I go out to like whatever neighborhood, like Washington Ave or whatever the hell downtown adjacent, and I go to a little corner store that just has a little setup and they have the fish. You put the hot sauce. It reminds me exactly.
Yum.
You're from Florida, by the way, right? I don't think we've said that on this podcast. Yeah.
I'm so surprised that wasn't the first thing out your mouth.
I know. We kind of jumped into it.
Like from being from Florida. That's what I talk about till the cows come home.
Yeah. When did you move to New York? How long have you been here for?
5 years.
Okay, word. So not that long. I mean, a good enough amount of time, but like.
It's enough time to be like, wow, I have truly aged. Like turning 30 and then knowing that I was 24 when I got here.
Yeah.
When I look back, I'm like, I'm a completely different
New York changes you fast.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
But you enjoyed growing up? Like, you're around from Orlando, right?
Yeah, so I'm from Central Florida.
Okay.
My family's from, came down, almost said migrated. They came down from St. Augustine.
Okay.
But more north, what's this? Never eat soggy, northeast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I do the same thing in my head.
I do, never eat soggy waffles. What's the other one? My very excited mother just served us 9 pizzas when they have to
solar system.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. But they came down from St. Augustine, and then I was born in Central Florida, and I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. I loved growing up. I had so much fun. So much fun.
That's good. I feel like we're from Ohio, and I feel like it's the same thing where like I actually liked growing up in Ohio, but there's so many people, same with Florida, who I feel they're like, oh, I'm never going back. Like, oh, I hated it. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, like now to your point, like after living here for a while, I'm like, I appreciate it even more now.
It's a nice place to grow up. Too. Like having some space to run around and stuff like the kids in the city.
There's space to run around. There was always something to do. One, because of just the diversity that's in Florida and specifically Central Florida that a lot of people just don't think about. Mm-hmm. And then obviously with this being a tourist destination, like we have all of those parks. And then when you live there, there's the incentive to go because you get discounts. So we go to the parks all the time. All the field trips I had growing up were so fun. St. Augustine, the Kennedy Space Center, and then just going outside and run around playing Manhunt and jumping out.
Literally Manhunt all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kick the can.
Kick the can. Classic.
The things I was doing when I was a child, I get it. I get it why my mom's just like,
same.
Always,
I know.
And my dad was always like, oh my God, because we would play Manhunt and somehow managed to jump on top of the apartment buildings and run around and hide like that, you know? And we just on top of apartment buildings like this. And then we all used to skateboard and longboard at one point. I get it. There's a lot of people who have left Florida for a good reason, you know? And then there are people who stay because they really have no choice. But I feel like I say this sometimes that Florida is low-hanging fruit when it comes to conversations about very terrible politics and horrible systematic things and infrastructure and culture. Like it's just easy to be like, Florida, chop it off. Everywhere else is better. But living here, first of all, I will say that the way Florida is operating, it has always been that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of people are like, no, it's like, no, it is. This has always been what's been going on. You know, it's just that we have way more access to media. We have more access, you know, to see things, and people have larger platforms to be evil and terrible. But that has always been Florida's MO, you know? But after living here for about 5 years, I was like, there's a lot of terrible stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy people everywhere.
That's why I'm like, there's a lot of terrible things as far as like the housing inequality here, the rates of, you know, the fare going up, people getting arrested simply because they didn't want to pay what is now $2.95, you know? And it's just like, there are other things happening. Well, you can arrest people for not paying $3. It's just like, there's tough stuff happening, but because I think New York and other places up here just have the privilege of being the North.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's always been just this narrative of everyone in the South, we're, for lack of a better word, dumb. We don't know any better. We're dumb. We're backwards. We're not progressive. We're not whatever. So then everyone in the North is just progressive by proxy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that requires no actual no thinking and no actual engagement. And I was radicalized in the South.
Right.
You know, like all of my friends and people in Tallahassee and Florida, like that's where I learned so much about the world and about people. And it just really developed me and my integrity and my sense of self, you know, it's like that happened because we don't have the the privileges of just like skating by or having so many people. I was like, it's really nitty gritty in the South,
right?
Because it's very much a we're all we have kind of situation, and we want to survive because we don't want to be erased. And that's why I'm like, I love the South, and I love Florida because there are people, because I'm from there and I know what's really happening,
right?
And what folks are really doing. So I'll never turn my back on Florida or the South.
Yeah.
That just psyched me up. I feel the same way. Being a Louisiana transplant. No, every word of that was just bars.
Literally bars. It's just, but you have to, because people or the powers that be, forces, you know, fascists, all of that, they rely on us turning our backs on our homes. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, if I turn my, it's like, who's going to talk about Florida? Who's going to write a cookbook for Florida?
Right. Yeah.
Who's gonna do all of these things so that we can make sure that we don't get erased and that we aren't wiped out and that our cultures and our feelings like actually, you know, persevere. But again, it's low hanging fruit and it's just easy to be like, off with the South, off with Florida, off with whatever. But it's like
people like you come around and talk positively about it can change the attitude. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you think you would like live there again? And
not what's the word? Not full time.
Right.
Yeah.
Not full time. I do want to, I'm hoping in the next year and a half, 2 years perhaps when I finish the book is to buy a house for my mom down there.
Nice.
And my baby brother. I have like 3 brothers younger than me, but one is about to go into 8th grade. And I'm like, let me wait until he's done with middle school before I just uproot his entire life for school district stuff. So I definitely want to get my mom a house in which I'll have a room, which I lock it and I'm like, that's my room. I'm like, don't play with me, bro. I don't want you playing Roblox in my room. I'm not playing with you, you know? But have a room for myself where I can, because I know I'll be home more often with the work that I'm doing. And then also just to finally be able to be around my family, you know, and to be in Florida and enjoy it in my own way because now I'm an adult with my own agency, you know? But not full time because there's just, I'm a Sag. I got to be other places.
I get that.
So why did you come to New York? You just like...
So I was applying for the James Beard Women in Culinary Leadership Program.
Because at this time you had the supper club,
give it to
right?
me.
Well, you were young though. Like, I mean, hold on.
Wait, so sorry. So
we gotta get the timeline right.
Yeah. So after leaving Florida, didn't you started a supper club, correct?
Oh, okay. I was in Central Florida. I was like, I'm going to cook. Told my best friend, told everyone, I'm going to be a chef. Told my parents who worked in financial aid. They were like, it's a chop. The school is too expensive. Like, we cannot afford that. I was like, that's okay. I'm going to be like Bobby Flay and I'm going to work at a restaurant and someone's going to discover me and they're going to pay for my education. It didn't happen. But I went to Tallahassee to try to make that happen for myself. And instead just ended up working at so many just different wild restaurants. I worked at this like one Cuban sandwich truck that I'm really praying it's shut down. Oh no. Because the food practices were horrible. Yikes. I was like, how did I not get food poisoning when I used to order from this place? I was like, what's happening?
Right.
So I bopped around and worked at some places, eventually started a supper club and I was working at this one vegan spot. That was a lot of fun. I was able to really discover myself and cook and really kind of, you know,
like flex the creative muscle.
Just kind of really find where my cooking compass was, my North Star for cooking.
Was this all vegan food? Were you going vegan for a little bit there? Or is this just
Oh yeah.
I mean, the food that they were making was good. You know, tempeh Reuben, buffalo tofu, vegan poutine, tofuevos rancheros. Like, it was good food. Yeah. We were tearing it up.
No wings and seafood though.
Right. But not wings and seafood. But then I would go home and I would go to the Publix and I'd get my chicken and I'd handle my business, you know. But some food that I would make, because just out of respect for the kitchen, because I did host one there, I would do like vegan stuff. Yeah. It was really fun to also expand my mind in that way and just learn something new. But they weren't all. Right. They weren't all vegan, but I did the supper club and it was great and I had a great time. And then I was like, well, I feel like I've done all I can do here. Like, what's next? And then that's when I was applying for the James Beard Women in Culinary Leadership thing, which I didn't get. And,
hey, round of applause.
Which I didn't get.
Didn't get.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
No,
I think you said did.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Oh.
We were like,
No, I'm like, why y'all clapping? They dubbed me. Why y'all clapping?
Yeah, fuck them.
But yeah,
James Beard.
James Beard, I'm pretty sure he was a small guy. And it was either for me between Atlanta or New York.
Yeah.
And I was leaning towards Atlanta because my plan was to be a private chef or like work for a private chef who just works for celebrities and rappers and such and basketball players.
Not a bad job.
Not even now. I look at it and I'm like,
I know.
Maybe switch it up.
I think it might be time to switch careers and switch gears, because if, 2 Chainz calls me up at 2 a.m. because he's in the studio and he wants, the taco kit box kind of tacos. Yeah. I'm waking up to make tacos for 2 Chainz.
Right.
And then I'm gonna get a massive check and be flown wherever 2 Chainz is going.
2 Chainz, if you're watching this.
2 Chainz, if you're watching.
Shut up, Kia.
I am a fan.
He would be so fun to work for.
He seems like a cool dude.
He seems like such a cool dude and a cool dad.
We're gonna tag him in this clip.
Yeah. Right. 2 Chainz, Titty Boy.
Titty Boy. Throwback.
It's me. But I was like, I'm just going to do that. And nothing was really panning out. And like, I was like, I need to save money. I need to live somewhere. What's happening? And then because of events that have been rehashed over and over and over again, I ended up getting a job in New York instead.
Yeah. What was that job?
Moved. Sous chef.
Yeah. What kind of food? What restaurant?
At Lolito.
Oh, right.
In Chinatown.
Yeah.
Chinatown.
I know. I know this whole story.
Right,
I was like,
should we skip this story?
Yeah. No, it's fine. I've been in a lot of therapy since then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got the job being a sous chef, and then
so instead of like
to be an executive chef, and
now
I've been here for 5 years.
Yeah. So not to get into it, and we can move.
What's up?
I'm just curious, like, what after you moved on, like, I guess what did you learn about yourself that you were like, okay, I'm gonna transition into a different
That's a good question. That's actually a good question. No one's ever asked me that.
Podcast is getting better.
They get 7. 7 is the number.
Yeah.
No one's asked me that. Everyone just kind of wants to like rip open the trauma of it all. But as far as like what I learned about myself, I learned that I can be a bit too giving and very self-sacrificing for others. And then I learned that self-sacrificing for others does not, like, people will take your sacrifice and
especially
then just step
in New York.
Yeah, and then just kind of step in your life. But I sacrificed, then like we don't care.
Right. So true.
And I also learned a big thing is that a lot of times most of the time, you cannot make the change that you think you're gonna make inside of systems and structures that are already just fucked. I was very naive in thinking that I could positivity my way through just a system that was screwed up beyond even my understanding before I even, joined.
Right.
So it's like, don't kill yourself trying to create a system, because you'll lose yourself in a lot of ways. No one will actually see that sacrifice at all or care.
Right.
They'll stick to whatever narratives, most benefit them. And then you just end up tired with, a big therapy bill.
Yeah.
So it's just like, preserve yourself, do your thing, and
it's so true.
Quit when you can,
right?
If it's possible. Because it's just like, the system is larger than a naive Floridian girl with, positivity and hopes and, milk on her breath. It's like, this is way bigger than me and my dreams. And I just learned that in a very difficult public way. And I was like, all right. Well, I'll never do that again.
Do you think that that's why you got into some of the like helping with food apartheid stuff to sort of like fulfill that desire to sort of like change something?
Yeah. I do think so. Yeah, because food is for people.
Yeah.
You know, and I think somewhere along the line, a lot of chefs and very, you know, I don't know, visible people in food, like they set out doing it for people, but then it becomes about them and the food is for them.
You know? I was going to say that feels like the ironic part about what you were just saying about like being an executive chef at a restaurant, and how I feel like people get into cooking in their life because they enjoy creating something that is also shareable and for other people. And so when you get into that industry and you're like, okay, like you try to bring in positivity and be selfless, and like you literally have to do the opposite which is so literally ironic.
You go from like, oh, food is incredible and I'm making this to share, to people are now turned into numbers and I have to cut all of this and do everything to get out of that red line, when really there are other things set up that you're never going to get out of the red.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it has nothing to do with this. It has to do with the red, and it has to do with light. It has to do with all the superfluous things that people who don't know how to run restaurants. It's like, it's like, it's not about that, you know?
Right.
But yeah, eventually it becomes less about the people and then more about you as the individual. And I was like, I can't even do what I do if not for people.
Yeah. What's the point?
What's the point? Like who cares what I'm cooking if it's not for people who want to come and eat the food? That's why when I started also doing pop-ups and such, and I would see like, you know, repeat people, you know, pulling up, or folks who are like, oh, well, can I say hi? And I was like, I will stop with tickets on the board to go out and table touch and say hello to someone, or thank someone for coming multiple times, or share whatever, because if not for them, I couldn't do anything. And no one would give a rat's ass who Kia Cooks was.
Yeah. Right. I mean, that changes the whole experience for the customer too. Yeah. Makes the food taste a little bit better for them too.
Right.
Yeah. And they get to talk. And then when I was doing, you know, Florida water, like so many people were Floridians.
Yeah.
Right. Just like, yo, thank you so much. Or like, my grandma used to make this like this, or thanks for repping. And then all the Floridians start coming out of the closet. You know, and feeling like here's a space where we can have the shared experience about where we're from and what that means. And I will never not do it for people.
Right. So I do want to get into that more in a little bit. But so I am curious then, after you got out of that experience of being executive chef and we're really like finding your next journey, what was kind of the connection between, so you're doing the pop-ups and, you know, different projects, and then how long was the gap between kind of that and then now you're culinary director for Cherry Bomb?
Honestly, that was not a massive gap. I didn't start doing pop-ups really until, honestly, during lockdown. When everyone started, you know, wrapping it up and doing the things. But yeah, the turnaround from exec to culinary director was literally no time at all. I actually wanted to, was I trying to go out of town? I think I was either going to go out of town, or I was actually trying to move back to the South to and work for the chef that I really, really admire. And then instead I got plucked for that job. And I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
Switch it up.
Sure. I was just like, and again, Sagittarius, like I've always just been like, sure, we'll see. I'm like, and if anything, you know, with any of my decisions, if it ever comes to a place where I'm like, I don't like what this is given, I always believe in my own agency. And I'm like, I could just leave. Like nothing can keep me where I am. Things just come to me when I align myself. So I never fear that I'm not going to have what I need when I move on.
It's a great perspective to have.
You have to. Yeah. You have to. Otherwise you'll like have a mental breakdown.
Totally.
You're doing, you know, grippy sock vacation, you know? You have to just really like have to form your own kind of reality. But I took it because I was like, I love food.
Yeah.
This is something new. When would an opportunity like this come again, specifically like this?
It's a unique opportunity.
Why not? Yeah, I was like,
cool.
why not?
Like, it's a cool.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It was really cool. And I met some incredible people. And I did learn a lot about, you know, how the sausage is made when it comes to media and connecting and all of that. And Carrie and Cherry Bomb is the great connector, to be honest. So I was like, who am I to deny myself that opportunity? And I cannot deny the ways that it has benefited me.
What does that job sort of entail? I mean, like, what's the day-to-day like there?
A lot of it was
And are you moved on from that now?
Yes. No, yeah.
Okay.
I have not been in that job in years now. A lot of it, though, was just me learning a lot about people and trying to connect folks and for events and test kitchen things and cookbook things and all of that.
The Florida Water Project?
Florida Water Tour.
Florida Water Tour. I knew that was something that was happening, but I guess I didn't know like if that, like how long that's been going on. And I wanted to learn more about that whole project. The
timeline, left the exec job, culinary director, did that for a solid amount of time. Pandemic begins. I leave that post. I start Kia Cooks Inc. I became I hosted Nike Athletes Cookbook Season 2. That was a lot of fun. That catapulted me into more kind of spontane on camera type jobs. Did some private events and things of that nature. Then I was like, okay, I need something that is for me because I'm doing things for everyone else and it's great, but it's not getting me to where I need to be. And then I was like, I'm going to write a cookbook. Let's figure out how to do that. I start the proposal and then I go to Mexico City because I was losing my mind. I come back.
I want to go there so bad.
I'm on my way there. I'm so excited. I lost my mind and I left. And then I lost my mind there, but it was fine because I was there.
Yeah.
And then I came back and I was like, I'm going to do the Florida Water Tour.
Yeah.
And then I went straight to the homies at, what's the name of that place? Honey's.
Oh, yeah.
I went straight to the people at Honey's and I started. Spot. And that was Florida Water Tour round 1.
Amazing.
Yeah. No, it really feels like it's been a long time, but it really hasn't been that long. I did the first round and then I did the second round. And
so you talk about a little bit about like what that tour was like and
so fun.
And what did it entail? Like
So what I thought I was going to do was set up like a residency situation somewhere. Cause I was like, cause I was going to do residency somewhere else. And to be frank, I was ghosted on that entire project.
Oh my God.
Shit. Yeah, it was whack.
That was whack.
Who was it?
Ghosting is the way.
I won't because lots of mutuals and lots of people.
Okay.
I mean, I don't give a shit about nothing, but I'll keep it classy.
Don't burn all the bridges.
I don't give a damn. But also, I'm like, I'll keep it cute when necessary. But I did get ghosted on that project, and I was like, well, shit, what? I had this whole idea, I had this whole whatever, like what's happening. So then I was like, well, because it was going to be a residency. So then I was like, well, then let me do the residency somewhere else. And then I was like, well, actually, what if I just bop around to different places? So the goal or the idea was that I myself would discover what Floridian cuisine is.
Yeah.
What is Floridian cooking? Mm-hmm. What am I doing? What does that mean? Is it, a mixture of the foods we're making and the technique, or is it also just a vibe?
Yeah,
I learned on the second tour that it was a vibe, but that it was an energy, it was a way of living and existing. For the first tour, I definitely ended up making things and trying things that I've just absorbed through eating and seeing and all of that. And some of them were fantastic. And other of them, I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I made that. I'm so sorry to everybody.
My God.
And I was like, ooh, that did not hit at all, God. But I learned and I pushed myself. That was one thing I feel like I exercised the muscle that I hadn't exercised in a while. And then I developed other ones around, what does it mean to change the menu every time?
Right.
Yeah.
What kind of techniques am I reaching for? Okay. What do I need to learn in order to actually execute that? Like, what does it mean to, I just feel like I was really putting some WD-40,
right,
on everything and getting it going. I was like, okay. And then by the time, and it still had such a great response, even though I was like, I'll give this one a 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
You're learning in public.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And that was another thing. It was like a shame kink. I was like, it was very much voyeurism because I'm like, damn, I'm really just, everyone's watching me.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm doing this and I'm learning and doing it in real time and taking people's feedback and things in real time. And that's tough. And it's then when I took a break.
How long was that first one?
Oh, good question. Maybe like a month and a half, 2 months. I was wild.
That's a lot of time.
Packed it. I was like, new flyer.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
New menu.
Yeah. Jeez.
I will say the one that I did at Redora, that was wild. That tour.
Yeah.
Because it was also a good cozy time in December. And everyone, that one was balls to the walls, wild.
Yeah.
So then I took a beat. And then I was like, all right.
All right.
Let's do it again.
Yeah. It's like when
Back
you
on the
like,
horse.
right.
And then I did the second one. And then I was like, once I did the second one, I was like,
got it unlocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, this is what it is. This is the menu. This is what's happening. This is how we're doing it. This is what I feel about food. Da 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 da.
Yeah.
Let's hit it. And it was so much fun.
Yeah.
Oh,
what are some of the hits on the menu? What are some of the favorites?
Ooh. I have to think because I kept changing the dang menu.
Yeah.
Anything you like kind of threw on there a little bit more often?
Or like a Old Reliable or something.
Not
like,
even. The buttermilk salad. That was the most consistent.
Yeah.
Through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Every menu had that buttermilk salad. One of my very dear friends, Libby Willis, from the iconic Mimi's, she's now doing her own thing and I love her and she's incredible. But she would remind me that I needed a fresh moment. She's like, what's your fresh moment?
Yeah.
What's your vegetable moment?
Makes a huge difference.
Yeah, she was like, because I can go pack on the decadent savor all that, but she's like, what's your fresh moment?
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, you're right. And then that's how I developed that salad.
Yeah.
And she was like, and I was like, thank you. But but the buttermilk salad was just like that one and the achiote chicken.
Yeah.
That one was pretty.
Sounds delish.
That one was wild. That one was fun. I think I did that for. Wait, did I do hearts on the second round? Or did I do hearts on the first round and the fly on the second round?
Hearts is great.
That's my favorite restaurant in New York.
I did hearts on the first round.
How did I miss that?
I did that chicken with the little quenelle of aioli and the onions. That thing.
Yeah.
That sounds so good.
Wait, and then I did the country fried steak with beurre blanc on it.
Yeah.
And hot sauce
great.
and black pepper. That
unreal.
That was unreal. I'm like, that was actually literally, that was actually, I remember making that menu and cooking and doing like lemon pepper shrimp and all that. And the whole time I was cooking, I was like, this is ignorant.
Yeah.
I was like, everything about this is actually not even
Florida's
ignorant,
really
it's
like
ignorant. I was like, everything about this is real ignorant.
Yeah.
And I was like, Kia, the whole time I was cooking, I was like, bitch. I said, oh, bitch. I said,
that's a good sign.
I was like, ooh, even now, think about it, like, bitch, you ate that. And then I did that chicken and that salad again when I did the fly. And we just did it rotisserie style with the jus. And then that people lost their minds.
Yeah.
So really, it's honestly that chicken and that salad are always like
staples.
Our staples and go hand in hand. And everyone's loving it. But I didn't get to finish the tour just because life and things happen. Because I was gonna do Paris, but they got bed bugs.
Oh yeah.
And then timing stuff. And then I was gonna do Shanghai with Lucas Sen.
I love Lucas Sen.
That's my brother.
We work with him. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's my brother.
So smart.
So smart. And we were gonna do like a Szechuan style situation. Szechuan, because I'm also Creole on my dad's side. So you're gonna do like a Szechuan Creole situation.
Nice. Yeah.
You have to still do that.
There
we go.
Please still do that at some point.
I know we will, but like I was like, my life is moving and he's like doing so many 1,000 projects and the reason why he went out there and he's doing a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, as long as Lucas is there and Shanghai is there, it's fine. That's another thing. I'm like, I'm not pressing myself to do anything to screw. I'm like, as long as I wake up and I breathe, I'm like, the opportunity is there.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll do it when it makes sense. Like, also, what people going to do? Be mad at me because I'm in Shanghai? You weren't going to be there anyway? You seen them tickets? You weren't going to be in Shanghai anyway?
I know. I'm thinking about it and I'm like, well, I'm not going to have it.
People from Florida showing up.
Right, people from Florida, like, hey, we're from St. Pete. We followed you to Shanghai. I would be like, dinner's on me. Lodging's on me. You're wild. But like,
so
no one's
funny.
gonna, bully me. So like, Paris will pick up when it's time.
Yeah.
Shanghai will pick up when it's time. But those I have to do in 2024, and that's gonna be wild.
We got a grill and a smoker right there. If you ever want to practice, we do pop-ups here all the time.
Pop it up right
Good
now.
old Bushwick, Brooklyn.
Right in Bushwick. But I'm super excited for both of those collaborations. I feel like
that is exciting.
Right?
That's amazing.
It's gonna be great. I feel like they are opportunities, or not opportunities rather, or like I just feel like they're really good. What's the word? Canvases.
Yeah.
For the kind of cooking I like.
Yeah.
And then my experiences being from the South and being from Florida, and then also being Creole, and I'm just like, I feel like Southern food lends itself extremely well to French technique, which is so exciting. And then also being Creole, and I'm going to make yakame and freaking Shanghai with like Szechuan stuff with Luke. It's just like, they just really complement each other.
Totally.
And I'm so excited for that. That's going to be ignorant.
I was going to say, you're going to do a gumbo recipe in the cookbook?
Yes.
Yeah? Now we're talking.
So actually, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, so are you still like testing?
Okay, so we're in the beginning stages of the cookbook. Will I have a gumbo recipe? Yeah. So there actually is a recipe in Florida called Gulf Coast Gumbo.
Really?
Yeah.
What's in that bad boy?
Honestly, I was reading it and I was like, not so different from what's in Louisiana,
Pretty
but it's
similar.
just, on the Gulf and like Apalachicola, like there's just a lot of access to seafood out there and the blue crab and a certain type of shrimp and all of that. So I'm just like, yeah, that makes sense. That especially with the way that, the like panhandle and then it's like Louisiana and whatever, and then it comes down into, that side of Florida. It makes sense.
Right.
That people are making gumbo down on that side. So I'm going to do some research on that and do a recipe for Gulf Coast Gumbo. But as far as book stuff, I am still in the baby beginnings of it.
That's a tedious process.
It is. And I'm still really excited.
Oh, yeah.
Totally. It's just like writing. I think, honestly, I feel like the hardest thing was that proposal.
Yeah.
I think I was writing that proposal for like a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Wow.
Because, I became different people. Yeah. Like I was no longer the same person, had the same ideas. Right. I think I have like a few docs that have all kinds of different versions of what I thought the proposal was going to be. And then sometimes I would marry them or move them or whatever. And I was like, I'm so tired. I was like, my brain, I'm actually so stinking tired.
What goes into a proposal? Like for someone out there listening who maybe wants to write a cookbook one day, like.
What goes into a proposal? Well, the structure of it, you're going to have to write about who you are and why you should be the one to do it and try to write it in a way that doesn't seem too arrogant or performative.
Yeah.
You're going to have to then write about what your project is and why this project should exist. I'm going to ask you to do a whole lot of sample recipes as well, but it's you.
Yeah.
And also
just pitching yourself.
Yeah, you're pitching yourself. And also remember when you write this, you're going to be a completely different person when this book comes out.
Right.
And you just have to be okay with that. Yeah. And also it's going to take time. Like people are like, I'm like, give yourself time. It's going to take about a year or two. And also consult with some trusted people who either are down to read it as like an outside party or have done one themselves. Yeah. I've definitely received like friends' proposals in the industry. They're like, well, this is how I did mine. Well, this is how I did mine. This is how I did mine. And I just had to learn and figure it out.
Did you shop it around for a while? Or did you get picked up pretty quickly?
No.
You got it in real fast, huh?
No, I was actually a little gagged because I remember I called up my agent and I was like, yeah, girl, do you think if I get you a proposal before summer's end, like, could we XYZ 1, 2, 3? And she was like, oh, yeah, let me call you. She's like, well, we totally could do that because I'm going on mat leave. I said, you're pregnant? She was like, yeah. And I said, well, all right. Yeah. I was like, it was just such knowing my agent and her.
You're like, congrats. Yeah. Oh my God.
I was like, well, yeah, let's get this in prior, you know? And wrote the proposal, edited it down, gave it to her. She sent it out to some peeps. And I was like, well, what now? She said, we just see who's interested. Yeah. And I got 7 interest meetings.
Oh my God.
Nailed it right away.
So I didn't know that was like
the proposal was pretty good.
Thing. Yeah. I was just like, okay, well, that's nice.
Right.
And she's like, no, Kia, this is good.
Yeah.
This is great. She's like, we're at a point where we actually can't take anymore.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
This is a lot.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
I was like, okay. And then it was actually the 7th meeting I took that came in right after that, right when I was truly winded. I was like, I love y'all, thank y'all, but I simply cannot talk again. I was like, because I was also doing my pop-ups and I was traveling and interpersonal stuff. And I was like, oh God. But they came in right at the end. And even I was just blown away by even the energy that they had. Yeah. I mean, they had notes about my proposal and thing and all the whatever. And then I found out on a stinky little poopy Greyhound bus from Atlanta to North Carolina, which I did not pay. I paid for a flexi bus.
We have the same thing happen to us.
Liars.
Yeah, we got off the bus and took an Uber because it was so hot. The
There's no AC in Key West. No AC.
Key West, yeah.
I was like,
wow, the Flix bus.
I was like, this is a scam. Yeah. I paid for Flexi bus. I pull up in Atlanta. It's a Greyhound. I said, I know y'all fucking lying.
Yeah, we got
I know y'all lying. I paid for my seat at every I get on the Greyhound bus. There's an elderly man in my seat. I didn't even care. I was like, that's my seat. Yeah. I was like, I paid for that seat. Yeah. And he gets up all slow. I was like, I was like, just sit down, Grandpa. I was so bad. I was like, just sit down. I don't want to get beat up for elder abuse. Like, sit down. I was so pissed. Sit down. Stinky. I was so mad. And then my seat was broken. I was so pissed. But then I found out on the second leg for going from South Carolina to North Carolina because I was going to Asheville to cook with Silver. And I got the call that I got a preempt offer. Yeah. And I had no idea what a preempt. She was like, "Oh, he wants to make an offer." I was like, "Okay, well, what does that mean?" She was like, "Preempt." Yeah. I said, "All right, well, what does that mean?" And she explained. I was like, "Oh, well, that's nice." Yeah. And then we sold my book when I was on the bus.
Amazing. That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was actually really bonkers, and I'm just deeply appreciative, like that. They see the vision and what I'm trying to bring to life, because for a lot of people, a book about Florida and Floridian cuisine and all that was just like a niche.
Yeah. I think that's why it's cool though, because it's like you really don't see that like
I'm seeing New York Times bestseller coming in the future.
Yeah.
I'm trying to sweep the house. I'm trying to get New York Times bestseller. Yeah. I want to get I think the IAACP. Is it AACP or whatever? I want to get their Cookbook Award for First Cook. I think it's like the Julia Child Award. Like,
so you're trying all the prizes.
Sagittarius. I'm like,
there's a goal.
I'm trying to sweep it because I know this is going to be a really incredible book. But a lot of people, for them, it was just niche, or I don't know, or some people just straight up said they don't see a market for this book. And even though I understand, it's business and whatever reasons people have behind the scenes, but to hear something like that really hurt my feelings. Because I was like, so you tell me there's not a market for an entire people that exists?
Yeah, a whole state.
For a whole
like a huge state. Yeah.
I was like, a whole state. I was like, but we need another pasta book, but we need another book. We need another whatever book, another bread book. Yeah. I'm just like, how many times y'all gonna tell me to make the sourdough? I was like, give us something else. I was like, the people are thirsty for something else. And I feel like folks are just underestimating like the consumers and the cooks and the people who are like, I want something different. I want actual real stories.
Also, you don't hear about like Florida. Like, I don't know much about Florida cooking now that we're talking about it. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be interested in it just because.
Right. Just off rip. I mean, again, one, it's definitely a vibe, but like, it's also a certain type of Southernness that people discredit because of the diversity that exists. Right. Mm-hmm. And I had to get into it with someone as well. Because I'm like, how are you saying that Florida is in the South because of, the culture in South Florida, or like the diversity. Like right. I'm just like, Miami is one pocket.
Tiny piece.
And even in Miami, there's like Southern people there. They just enjoy living in Miami. I was like, there are so many other parts of the South that are deeply influenced by other things. You have, in South Carolina, it's about Geechee influence and low country influence, but then you go to North Carolina and it's Appalachian,
right?
And it's completely
totally different.
And then you go, let's say, to Mississippi, and there's a large Chinese population there because when they migrated over and then working on the railroads and the Chinese Mississippi, like I was like, all of those folks are there and they have their own food and their own culture. And then you go to Louisiana of all places and it's freaking French.
Right. Right. I mean, that's like the prime example.
And the people love it. And y'all eat it up. Y'all eat it up. Y'all don't shade Louisiana for not having biscuits. You're like, oh, beignets, collard. I'm like, no one's saying that's not the South. I'm like, the South is diverse. I was like, Texas, people go back and forth about if they think Texas is the South or not. But I'm like, there's that huge Mexican influence because that was Mexican land.
Right.
I'm like, I was like, come on, y'all.
Right.
I was like, let's put our thinking. Literally, every time I talk about it, I'm like, put your thinking cap on.
Like,
there's more. I was like, and when I pitched the proposal, I think I had said somewhere in there that Florida, what people think is Florida's weakness around diversity is actually one of its strengths. Because this is going to be the people and the cultures and the population that continue to expand what the narrative is around Southern cuisine and food and history for however many, because what we're talking about now is Southern cuisine. That's if the earth is still here 100 years from now, that's not what they're going to be talking about then.
Right.
It's going to continue to change and develop and to grow. And that's what we want. So I'm like, no, I want there to be conversation about what the, Caribbean is contributing to the Southern experience.
Right.
I want conversation about what, the Cuban experience is adding, or what the South Asian experience is adding, because there's a lot of South Asian and Colombian people in Central Florida,
Yeah.
And also Florida is still very much the South. Before all this building and all of the things, it was corn country, it was cow country, and it's citrus from, here to your mama house. It's just like, it has always been that way. But again, don't want to put on their thinking and they're just like
market.
They're like Atlanta. I'm like, Atlanta is one of the most like metropolitan cities. I know so many transplants are there. I'm like, we have to think bigger than that. I don't know what people are afraid of.
I think it's so cool you're doing this.
Well, it sounds like a lot of people got it. If you had 7 meetings, and you know what I mean?
A lot of people saw the vision, and I'm really excited to bring a book, because there are so many Florida books. I literally just spent like $100 on thrift books buying like old ones. I'm excited to create a book that doesn't exist,
right? And
also to be a vessel for other people's stories and what Floridians who are there want to say and want to share and want to bring to the table. And I'm just very proud that I have the opportunity to be the person to do something like that, and I don't take it lightly.
So what's the timeline? Like, when can we
deadlines and things? We have to put
I do have
together?
deadlines. I have no idea when they're thinking of publishing, but I know that my manuscript is due Feb 1, 2025.
Oh wow!
So you got some time.
Yeah, I got a little bit. So I've been starting a lot of groundwork with organization and pulling recipes and getting all the information together. And then once Feb 1 hits is when I'm just gonna be like, all right, let's kill some darlings.
Right.
Let's figure out what I'm gonna test. Let's rework all of this stuff. Let's interview people. Let's reach out. Let's all that good. So yeah, my entire 2024 is gonna be this book. Yeah, my baby.
Exciting.
I know. Cooking with Florida water. Coming to a bookstore at some point.
Yeah. And is there anything else you want to just like shout out in the meantime, like as you work on it, or things for people to look forward to? Or
I'm bringing back both of my newsletters, Eat Good Things and Kia Cares.
Do they find those on your website? Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's on my IG and my Substack, Eat Good Things and Kia Cares. Eat Good Things, I'm gonna actually do recipes this time. Before it was a cute diary of sorts, but now I'm like, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just gonna do straight up recipes, and then Kia Cares is going to transform into an advice column.
Oh, nice.
Because I talk a lot about my own mental health, but I'm like,
I feel like you give good advice.
I'm like, what are y'all doing? I was like, I'm on Wellbutrin and Zoloft now, so I'm kind of, I'm kind of vibing. So what do y'all got go? I was like, I feel great. I was like, I actually don't want to write about that because I feel okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, well, what do y'all have going on? So I'm excited to push that out.
Cool.
And change my website and write and vlog and I don't know, 30 I'm excited. 30 is gonna be great. The year of the Florida woman.
You've done a lot already. Yeah, it's insane.
I know. I told my therapist, I was like, I feel like my age is actually caught up with my career now.
Yeah.
Because everyone thought I was like 32 and I was like, I'm a baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, year of the Florida woman, 30.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
Happy birthday, especially all the Sages out there.
Sag gang.
Yeah.
Happy
and
birthday.
Cheers to you and all the exciting projects.
Boom.
Boom. Nothing left.
This
was so fun.
Thanks, Kia.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, y'all. Thanks, Food 52.